Little Domestic Goblin. This story happened to my family after we bought a new house. No one suspected that after moving, we would get a new neighbor in the form of a goblin. Living in a big city means traffic jams, fuss, polluted air, neighbors on the landing in the house, and the like. So one day at a family council, we decided that it was time to get our own home not far from the city, where we could spend weekends or live in the summer. Our choice fell on an old, but fairly well-preserved, well-kept, two-story house located in one of the villages of the city district. We liked that there was a large garden behind the house, a river flowed nearby, and our neighbors were a nice, quiet elderly couple. The man who sold it to us told us that this house was built by his father, who loved privacy and order. The very first night brought us an alarming surprise. My wife suddenly woke me up in the middle of the night and said that there was someone on the ceiling. She heard someone walking around and quietly muttering. I listened, but heard nothing. I said that it was probably the wind or mice. Calmed her down and we went to bed. The next day, we celebrated a housewarming party with guests and stayed up late. We decided to wash the dirty dishes in the morning. Suddenly, in the middle of the night, we heard the sound of broken dishes, and then a noise as if someone was sorting through them. We turned on the light and went into the kitchen. There was a broken plate on the floor, and it was clear that someone had touched the dishes. I assumed that there were probably rats or mice in the house, attracted by the remains of food. But the next night, an even stranger incident occurred. Our children were having a real laugh before going to bed. Toys and things were scattered all over their room, having made them promise to clean everything up in the morning. We put them to bed. Early in the morning, we were awakened by our daughter's scream. When we ran into the room, we saw the reason for it. It turned out that someone had tied her hair tightly to the bedpost. At first, I thought of my sister, but looking into her frightened eyes, I realized that it wasn't her. During the day, I told my elderly neighbor about all these strange cases. He just smiled in response. So it's probably a goblin playing pranks, he said. Returning to the house, I scrolled through the entire internet. There was no doubt it really looked like the tricks of a domestic goblin. Apparently, he didn't like our family, and as we know, all domestic goblins like order in the house, and we have dirty dishes, scattered toys. I read that if a goblin doesn't accept a family right away, then it is necessary to show him who is the boss in the house, and to do this, whip all the walls and corners with a whip, saying, "Know your place." In order not to be taken for a madman, I waited until all my family had left the house, then took the belt and performed the required ritual. By evening, the house was in perfect order. All night I listened to see if the goblin would somehow reveal himself, but everything went quietly, without incident. From then on, I made sure to keep the house tidy and clean every day, and the result was not long in coming. One morning, my daughter discovered that her hair was braided into a kind of plait. Thank God, I thought. Now I was an expert on domestic goblins, and I knew that a goblin braiding his hair was evidence that he liked us.